Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in again to Brent and Friends, Nonsense and Trends. Today is part 4 of our 4-part episode of the basics of Medicare. So we've discussed regular Medicare Part A, B, D, and a little bit of Medicare Part C. In our second episode, we talked about Medicare Advantage Plans, Medicare Part C, and really what they are, kind of bringing some clarity to that. In our third episode last week, we discussed Medicare Supplement Plans and how they kind of the basics of how Medicare Supplement Plans work. And today we'll be talking about basically the differences on, or some of the things you might want to consider when determining whether a supplement or an Advantage plan really is right for you. So I'm here with my business partner, Plemons.
In the
Jim
house.
Plemons into his house. Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for always joining me so I'm not lonely. Guys, we'll see you on the other side. Thanks for stopping in. Hey, everybody. You are back here with Brent and Friends, Nonsense and Trends, with the Turning 65 advisor, my business partner, Jim Plemons. What's up?
How you doing, buddy?
Plemons.
Good to be back.
It's good to be back, man. It's been a long day of content. For those of you who still don't understand, this is just one big long day of us discussing the basics of Medicare. And for your guys' viewing comfortability, we've broken it down into 4 parts.
Right.
A lot of talking, a lot of discussing. And today we're concluding with some of the things you just might want to consider when deciding, should I go with an Advantage plan or should I go with a supplement plan? Now, if you're tuning into this episode, but you haven't watched the previous 3 episodes on the basics of Medicare, you might want to go back to that. If you haven't watched the basics of Medicare Advantage plans, you might want to go watch that. If you haven't watched the episode just prior to this about Medicare supplements, you may want to watch that, because through those 3 episodes, that's really going to segue us into, now we've kind of got this, all the meat of how those different options work.
Yeah, that's the meat and potatoes. We're about ready to put some gravy on it. Right?
Right. Yeah. We're about ready to douse some gravy on it. You know what? I think I saw, oh gosh, I saw this television show where this girl was like at her quinceañera, like this Latina chick, right? She was at her quinceañera. She's like turning 16 or whatever, right?
Yeah, pretty good.
Quinceañera?
Yeah.
I listen, I have some Hispanic female agents, and I want to be able to show my face around them the next time I see them.
You gotta say those words.
I have to say quinceañera properly. Yeah. And Maricella's probably still gonna have my hide, because I probably still butchered it just enough for her to notice. Right. So anyways, but she was at her quinceañera and she was dancing, and some guy said, he said, throw some hot sauce on that dance burrito. And then she really started dancing. It was one of the funniest things. It was one of the funniest things. Well, when you said, let's throw some gravy on it,
it reminded you of that.
It reminded me of that. It was actually really hilarious. I thought
it's funny, because I was getting ready to say the same thing, that's the meat and potatoes of our conversation today, is what the first 3 episodes. It kind of just really broke down original Medicare, Advantage plans, and supplement plans. And now we're just kind of going to bring it all together and compare some differences.
This is right. Exactly. This is where we have all the ingredients. Now we just decide which one we want, which one's better for us.
Right.
So I guess Jim, what do you find when you're sitting down with your clients? What are you finding is like their biggest concerns when it comes to their care, and how do you decipher whether or not you want to encourage them to go towards a supplement plan or an Advantage plan? I mean, they're very, very, very different in nature.
Right.
And I really try to shy away from saying one is better than the other.
Right.
That's not my style.
Yeah, one's not really better than the other. I mean, it just depends on the person's situation, So I start by, the first thing we do is we gather their prescription drugs. We find out what the names of their doctors are. We put them into our system that we use here, and it kind of pulls it all together and gives us a comparison of all the different plans, whether they're Advantage or supplement. And then we can kind of try to, steer them in one direction or the other based on what their needs are and their health, their current health, and how old they are.
It really is going to be based on that particular client's needs.
Yeah. And if they're turning 65, just coming onto Medicare, it's a little bit different than if they're already, say they're 72 and, you know, and they're...
Well, someone could be 72 and they got a lot of medical conditions and they may not qualify for a supplement plan if they don't already have one.
Kind of limits your options.
Okay. And then a lot of times you're going to have someone who maybe already has a supplement. They're just shopping for a better price.
Right.
Then you've got someone who's got a Medicare Advantage plan, but they want a supplement plan. And then you have to determine whether they're going to qualify for it or not. So when we're looking at the differences between Advantage plans and supplement plans, a lot of times I had a client one time, it was really great. I'm very open to these types of things. This client, she was very confident in her numbers and she was like a math teacher. And she was in my office and she said, do you mind if I use your whiteboard really quick? And I said, yeah, sure. And so she stood up and she goes to my whiteboard in my office and
she's breaking it down for you.
She started breaking it down and she said, okay, Brent, she said, there are Medicare Advantage plans that are available here in Arizona that have an out-of-pocket max of $3,500, right? And I said, right. And she goes, let's just say worst case scenario, they all jack their out-of-pocket max up to $6,700, which is very unlikely.
Right.
So she's writing this on the whiteboard. She's like, $6,700. Now she's teaching me, and I thought it was great. I'm like sitting back. I'm like, this is awesome, right?
Yeah.
And so she's like, $6,700. And let's say I'm in my retirement for 25 years. And, you know, I'm paying no premium on a monthly basis for my Advantage plan for 25 years. But let's say over a 25-year period of time, I hit my out-of-pocket max of $6,700. Let's say I hit it 4 times. Which means I've had 4 really, really bad years. And I said, that's really unrealistic, by the way. There's not a lot of people who are going to hit their out-of-pocket max that many times.
4 times, right?
4 times.
Most people never hit it. And if they do, it's not 4 times.
Statistically speaking, there's like 3% of Medicare beneficiaries hit their out-of-pocket max. And so, I mean, and that's one time. And that's having a bad year, right? So the thing is if you're on your way to hitting your out-of-pocket max with an Advantage plan for the 4th year in a row, you're probably on your way to having a funeral pretty soon. So, I mean, you know, no offense to anybody. I'm just saying, like, it's just... And if there are people who have done that, you're kind of the exception. You're not really the rule. It's really not common for people to hit their out-of-pocket max every single year, like 3, 4, 5 years in a row. It's just not. And she said, but let's say over a 10, 20-year period of time, I hit my out-of-pocket max 5 times, she said, 4 or 5 times. And she's doing the math and she's adding 6,700, 6,700, 6,700, whatever, right? And she said, now let's say for 30 years, I'm paying my Medicare supplement premium and I'm paying that premium for, you know, $125 a month. And let's say they never increase my premiums ever. I'm just paying $125. And I said, that's also unrealistic. They'll probably increase your premiums. And she goes, good. Let's say they don't. And I'm paying $125 a month times 12 months out of the year times 30 years in my retirement. Over the course of my retirement, I've paid this much money. She had this final number. And she goes, with my Medicare Advantage plan, let's say I hit my out-of-pocket cap 4 times. Here's how much money I've spent on medical bills. And she goes, I've still spent almost 30% more throughout my retirement on my Medicare supplement premiums than I have my Advantage plans. And she looked me dead in the windows of my souls and she goes, put me on an Advantage plan. And I said, okay. Okay. And we went with the Medicare Advantage plan. So
she get it. She gets it. Some people get it.
Okay. Yeah. But when we say she gets it, I think the it that we're getting, it is still opinion. Yeah. Because
she was dealing with strictly hypothetical numbers and nobody knows how many times you'll hit the maximum, if at all.
Well, yeah.
Or what their premium will be for over 20 years.
Exactly. And she's looking at it strictly from a numbers perspective. Right. So
she's an analytic.
She's analytics and she's looking at numbers. Why do most people buy supplement plans?
Why do most people?
I think I know why.
I think it's because they want the freedom of no network. Bingo. They fear the HMO.
Right. I don't think that most people buy supplements because they think it's going to save them money.
No. They don't buy it because they want to pay premiums every month.
No.
They want the freedom. They want to be able to go where they want, when they want. And
they don't want anybody to tell them what to do. They want to gallivant around. They want to go to the doctor when they want to.
If they're in Florida, they want to go to the doctor. If they're in Michigan visiting Aunt Lucy,
they want that freedom. They want that flexibility. They don't want anybody to tell them what to do. They want to just do what they want when they want. They want to be left alone, etc. So they want the no referrals. They want that freedom. They want those no restrictions. So the thing to understand is, I don't think that people buy Medicare supplement policies because they want to save money and they think it's going to save them money. However, there might be occasions where they do save you money. There really might be.
Yeah, everybody wants to save money, but that's not the driving force behind why they pick one or the other.
Well, exactly. I mean,
it shouldn't be.
Here's the thing. It's kind of like, I think someone had once said that, and say what you want about I think the point remains whether you like Volkswagens, the car, or not. You might think that they're junk. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. But I had someone once say, if I wanted the safest car on the road, I don't need to buy an Audi. I can buy a Volkswagen. But an Audi is just a much nicer, much more expensive Volkswagen. It doesn't really mean it's much safer. It might be a tiny bit more safer, but Volkswagens are supposed to be one of the safest vehicles on the planet, and they're a fraction of the cost of an Audi.
Right.
So the point is that people buy Audis because they want that luxury.
Yeah.
That's really why people buy it. I mean, if you want a very, very safe vehicle, you could go buy one of the higher end Volkswagens and you're not paying what you would pay for an Audi. But the Audi is going to be a smoother ride. It's probably going to have more pickups. It's going to have a stronger motor. It might be more fuel efficient. Doesn't mean it's going to be safer though.
Right.
Right. It's going to cost you more, but there's those luxury features that come with it. And I think that that's why people buy Medicare supplements, but Medicare Advantage plans are making it really hard to ignore anymore.
Yeah. They're getting better and better.
It's crazy.
Every year.
I've been in
the things that people hate about HMOs get less and less every year.
I know. I've been in this business for almost 15 years and it just continues to blow my mind every year how good these dang Advantage plans get.
The networks are getting bigger. The copays are getting smaller.
They're throwing free dental into these plans.
Dropping the referral requirement on some plans.
I know. So I think that there's always going to be a place in the market for Medicare supplement plans. We're still selling a lot of Medicare supplement plans, not as much as Advantage plans.
Right.
And I think that a lot of times people come to our seminars and they say, I walked into this seminar thinking, I don't want an Advantage plan. I want a supplement plan. And by the time the seminar was over and then they've met with us, it's not that we pushed them towards an Advantage plan. It's that we fully educated them on truly the differences. And now that they really know the way both plans work, guess what?
Yeah. And they can do a little bit of the math in their head and then go,
A lot of them end up going on Advantage plans.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times people don't really know the differences and they come in thinking, oh, I want that zero premium HMO. I heard that plan is good. And then we tell them about supplement plans and they're like, wow, I didn't even know about that. I want that. It's just a matter of educating your clients. And so a couple of the points that I think we should probably break down. With a Medicare supplement plan, just know that you're going to pay a monthly premium for it. It's going to cost extra money on top of your Medicare premium. So you're always going to pay your Medicare premium in most cases, unless you're getting assistance from the state government.
Medicare Part B is what you're saying, right?
Medicare Part B, like
Part
boy,
B premium.
unless you're getting assistance like from the state government, which most people are not. You have to be a low income for that or on some level of disability or whatever it might be.
And on a supplement plan, there's always that additional premium that goes on top of it.
Yeah, right. And then...
And it's going to go up every year too.
And it's probably going to go up most years.
It's not a guarantee, but...
It's not a guarantee, but you can anticipate that the premium is going to go up.
Right.
Now, when I say the premium is going to go up, folks, I mean, I have people who I put on Medicare supplements like 10 years ago, and maybe they started at $115 a month, right? And now they're like $189, $185. Yes, that's a significant increase, but over a 10-year period of time, it's kind of like...
It's like $6 a year, you know?
Yeah. It's like
$6 or $8 a year.
It's like a 5% increase a year compounded.
Right.
You know, or a 6% increase a year compounded. It's not a humongous increase. It's actually relatively conservative with all that being said. But at the end of the day, who am I to say, hey, that's not a lot of money to you?
No, right. It
might be a lot of money to someone. So there's a lot of people where making a Medicare Advantage plan work just might really be what's best for them. Because a lot of these plans are really, really great. 2 episodes ago, when we were talking about Advantage plans, we had just gotten done talking about how we would love to be on a Medicare Advantage plan.
Yeah.
If my family could have
if I could get on a Medicare Advantage plan today, I would be on one.
If I could get on an Advantage plan today, I would be on one too. They're absolutely awesome plans.
Yeah.
When put into right perspective.
They're awesome plans if they had a premium. If they were $150 a month, they're an awesome plan.
Well, you're going to pay the $150 a month for the Medicare Part B, right?
Right.
So you're saying an additional $150 you'd pay that? So you would pay $300 a month per person in your family for an Advantage plan.
I would
too. Well, maybe not per family member. Yeah, that's a lot. Well, I got 7 people in the house.
Yeah, you got a clan. You don't got a family.
I got 7 people in the house. That would be a lot of money. Yeah. But hey, you know what? The benefits are really awesome for what you're getting. The bang for your buck is really great. And so, for those of you who didn't tune into our 3 previous episodes, you know, like I had a client that went to a hospital and the bills were 175 grand and he paid $800.
Yeah.
That's how Medicare Advantage plans work.
Yeah, especially if you don't travel a whole lot, you spend most of your time in your home county. You're not going to run into those out-of-network problems like you might, you know, if you traveled a lot. Yep. So that makes the supplement plan more attractive to somebody that travels. If they're around, you know, they're here and there all over the place. They want their plan to go with them. And the supplement works good in that case. Yeah.
And there are also some other things to consider. Like if I have a client that comes into my office for the first time and they're turning 65, I mean, by the way, this has actually happened. I mean, these are real conversations that I've had more than once. I probably have this conversation at least 2 or 3 times a year where I'll have a client sitting in front of me and he says, he or she, it's usually, let's be honest, it's usually a he.
Yeah.
It's usually a he, okay? Because us men, we're stubborn and we think we're invincible, right?
Right.
So I'll usually have a client sitting in front of me, usually as a he, and he'll say, no, Brent, I don't want the supplement plan. And I'll say, okay, why is that? No, I just want the Advantage plan. I don't need to pay. I'm healthy. And I'll go, oh, okay, you're healthy. So tell me about your health. And then he'll go, well, you know, I had some stents put in a few years back, and ever since I had my stents put in and I've been taking my medication regularly, all my blood work's been coming back great and everything's been fine. And I'm sitting here scratching my head thinking, everything is coming back fine because you had major heart surgery and you're on drugs every day.
Right. Yeah.
So everything's not really fine. Everything is being kept.
It's being kept fine.
Kept fine by alternative sources.
Right.
Which means if you were to take those things away, you could wake up dead tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, you know, I'll say, hey, listen, my advice to you truly, and I'll say this, I'll just use the name Jack. There have been many times where I've said Jack, and I say this actually at my seminars. Hey folks, if I think you're going to make a decision that's wrong for you, I'm going to tell you that I think that's the bad decision. However, I've got 5 kids. I've got a wife at home. I'm used to people disagreeing with me on a daily basis. I got thick skin. I can take it. So if you don't agree with me, tell me you don't agree with me. That's perfectly fine. We'll get through this together.
Right.
And most of the time, you're going to win because you're the client. I just want to be here to support you and educate you. But at the end of the day, if we don't agree, that's fine. I'm good with that. But I'm going to let you know if I disagree with you. And there have been times where I've said, Jack, I don't think that that's the right decision for you. I really don't, Jack. You had a heart attack a few years back. You had some stents put in. You're taking these medications for cholesterol and medications for blood pressure, and you're taking a blood thinner, Jack. You're going on to Medicare. You have the opportunity to apply for a Medicare supplement right now because you're in your Medicare supplement open enrollment period, right? So when you're turning 65 and you're going on to Medicare Part B, like boy, for the first time, you don't even have to be turning 65 to qualify for the Medicare Supplement Open Enrollment Period. You just have to be going on to Part B of Medicare for the first time, and you have to be over the age of 65. And we can get into that later, but I might say, Jack, you're going on to Medicare Part B for the first time. You have the ability to apply for a supplement plan without being asked any medical questions. You're guaranteed acceptance. You had a couple stents put in a few years ago. You have some medical conditions. Jack, I really think a Medicare supplement is where you need to be. If you all of a sudden have an episode with your health, it's going to give you the flexibility to start going and getting the care that you need when you want it faster. And I'm not saying it's going to be better care, but it might be easier for you to achieve that care. You might be able to get that care quicker. Mm-hmm. And then, Jack's like, no, Brent, I mean, it's just, I feel like it'd be a waste of my money. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh boy. And listen, I probably over the last few years have gotten at least one call a year, and I'm grateful it's only one.
Yeah.
But I've gotten at least one call a year where I've had clients calling me and they've been crying because they should have taken that supplement that I told them to take.
All we can do at the end of the day, all we can do is educate our clients and make suggestions on what we think they should do. But at the end of the day, they have to make that decision because they got to pay the bills.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. If you're in and here's the thing, folks. If you're in a position, we're going to ask you about your income. And it's not that it's not that your income is any of our business really, but we're going to ask you about your income because if you
might qualify for some extra help.
You might qualify for some extra help. Or if your income, if you say, hey, look, I'm living off $2,000 a month, but I have a mortgage and I have a car payment. I'm not going to say, hey, get rid of your car and buy a bus pass so you can afford a supplement. Like I'm not that far removed from reality that I would make such an asinine, suggestion. right?
Yeah.
I mean, we want to make a suggestion that's realistic for you. So we're not going to tell you buy a supplement if you can't afford a supplement. I mean, we're not that far removed from reality.
Right. The primary recommendation is what's going to work best for their health.
Right. And for that particular client based on everything.
Right.
Why we do a full review.
Then the secondary consideration is their income. I mean, can they afford the supplement? Can they afford the recommendation? And if they can't, then we
probably aren't going to recommend it if they can't afford it. Right. Yeah. So that's the one thing to really take into consideration. These Advantage plans typically aren't going to cost you anything on a monthly basis, but you're going to have costs along the way.
Right.
The supplement plans, you're going to pay money up front, but you can go get care anywhere you want, when you want, and you're not going to pay anything. Now, we talked about this on our Why HMOs Suck podcast. Go back, watch it. It was really great. But we talked about this idea of managed care and how people who are on Medicare Advantage plans, Medicare Part C plans, HMOs, managed care plans, health maintenance organizations, how they're actually getting healthier faster, statistically speaking. And that's because it's almost a requirement that you have a primary care doctor that's managing and overseeing your care so that they're getting you to the doctors that are necessary. Versus people on supplements are just like, well, you know what? My chest hurts. I think I'm going to go to a cardiologist.
Right. There's nobody there holding their hand.
You're just going to gallivant off to a cardiologist because your chest hurts. Maybe you should just go to your, you either need to go to the emergency room if it's that bad, or you might want to go to your primary doctor. I'm just going to go to a cardiologist. And it's kind of like,
it's a little more reactive care than proactive care.
Yeah, man, it really is. My wife and I, we almost just made a decision to take my wife to an endocrinologist out of nowhere. And we finally got plugged in with a primary care doctor that really took some really, really good attention to my wife's care. And this doctor said, oh gosh, I'm glad you didn't just go to an endocrinologist, because based on what's going on with your wife, that would have been really jumping the gun. Yeah. And she said, I'm not saying I'm the answer for everything, but like you would have been really jumping the gun. Yeah. Like an endocrinologist may have actually said to your wife, why are you here? Yeah. Because you guys are like, she's just not there yet. Like we need to do some other things before we know. We honestly were this close to just going to an endocrinologist. Right. And then we finally got a hold of a primary doctor that actually cared. And I think that that's part of the problem too, is like, I think a lot of people are used to this idea of just being cycled through a primary care doctor's office and spending 5 minutes with them and the doctor just writing a prescription and sending you on your way. Or sends them to somebody else, a specialist. So I think that a lot of people think they need to take their care into their own hands. Right. That's another problem. Right. And that doesn't mean you could be on a supplement plan and still find a good primary care doctor. Yeah. That takes great care of you. Absolutely. You can. But the Advantage plans do a real good job of kind of managing things. Right, they do. And just so everybody knows, more and more and more of these Medicare Advantage plans aren't requiring referrals anymore anyways. Right. So it feels a lot more like a supplement without the bill every month. Yeah, it is. Now, one of the things that bothers me is I'll hear people from these insurance companies say, oh, well, yeah, I mean, our plan doesn't require referrals. And, why do people need supplements anymore? And I'm like, ugh, I can't believe you just said that. Like, you can't say supplements are obsolete now because our plan doesn't require. Just because of that one thing. Yeah. That's such it's an uneducated statement. Right. It's really bad. I mean, I have yet on my show, I have yet to say something is always better than another. No. I don't think you're ever going to get me to say it. No. We avoid the absolutes. We avoid them. And so if you ever hear someone say, don't get it, like most of the time people are saying, oh, well, I talked to my neighbors at the golf course and they're saying, get a Medicare supplement, get it with this company. And I'm like, okay, but that was your neighbor talking from their own personal experiences. Okay. Let's talk about you for a second. Yep. Let's break down your situation and let's find the plan that works for you. Not let's find the plan that works for your neighbor and then just enroll you in it. Yeah. Everybody's different. Everyone's different, right? Yep. Actually, sometimes even in the same household, husband and wife, a lot of times they want to get on the same plan. Well, my wife's on an Advantage plan. I want an Advantage plan, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. And we find out a lot of times in our meetings that a supplement will work best for one and an Advantage plan for the other. Right. Yeah. Or sometimes maybe an Advantage plan for both, but with two different insurance companies. Right. I mean, it really does come down to us looking at your personal situation and making sure that we know. So Advantage plans can be great for almost anybody, but it really just depends on what you're looking for. Supplement plans can be great for almost anybody. Just depends on what you're looking for. But there are going to be a lot of reasons why an Advantage plan might be better for someone versus a supplement plan might be better for someone. It really comes down to your overall health, what your goals are, what you're trying to accomplish, the kind of care that you like to receive, how active you are in your care. Do you want a physician to be active in your care? You probably should. If you don't want that, you probably should want that. And that's a whole nother conversation. And can you afford it? Affordability is a big thing too. And so anyways, my final conclusion is this, folks. Most people don't buy Medicare supplements because they think it's going to save them money. And if someone sits down at my desk and they say, I want a supplement plan because I think in the long run it's going to be less expensive, I'm probably going to go, maybe. Probably not. Probably not. Right. But will it be better coverage for you? Maybe.
Right.
For you, maybe. That's the thing I lean on. For you, maybe. With anything. So Medicare supplement plans, Medicare Advantage plans. What's better for you? I don't know.
Let's get together and talk about it.
Let's get together and talk about it. If you're listening, you can call us at 623-777-3315.
Yes, sir. That's the number.
That's the number.
Or you can go to our website, www.theattorney65advisor.com.
Schedule an appointment with us, Jim and I. We'd be happy to sit down and talk to you guys about what's actually going to be the right way to go for you. And we're brokers. We work with a multitude of different insurance companies. We're not biased to one insurance company. We frankly, as I like to say, I frankly don't care what insurance you have as long as it's the right fit for you. Give us a call, schedule an appointment with us. Guys, thanks for tuning in. That includes our 4-part episode. If you guys have more questions, more concerns, make sure you let us know. Peace.